So you said that you wanted to give your England caps back. Was that right?
Well, it wasn't so much the caps. It was I was out one day with my friend, and I explained, because he played a bit of football, and he said, "You've been treated harshly, you know." And I knew I had, because of what had gone on with the injury in Mexico. And the 3-year ban with Alf Ramsey was absolutely.
Why did you get the ban?
Because I refused to go on a tour because of my ankle. I told him I had a bad ankle, and he said, "If you're not here tomorrow, you know, you'll take the consequences." And I thought he was going to give me a slap wrist, and they give me a 3-year ban, which was unjust.
Yeah.
You know.
See, today you'd have doctors recommending that you don't do that, and you'd have your agent sort of defending you and all that, wouldn't you?
Well, the first thing you'd do if you was a manager, if you was any decency about you, is say, let our England doctor have a look at your ankle.
At Leffler and confirm it.
I think he'd just been knighted then, and he was just throwing his weight about.
Yeah, he felt like he had the power. Yeah.
What was your best memory in football when you look back and think that was my moment? I was at my best, or.
Well, the most pleasurable was the West Germany game, really, because I was very fortunate, really. Revie picked me, but didn't want to pick me, and he could have picked me 2-3 games before, and he didn't. I only got in the squad because the ban had been dropped, because he had taken over, and he could have picked me against Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, the 2 games before, and I knew what he was doing. We were playing the world champions, West Germany, and I thought, he's going to throw me into this game, thinking I can't do it. And I was speaking to Bawley about this, because we was in the squad.
Did that make you more up for it then?
Oh yeah, I was ready, yeah.
yeah.
And it rained for 2 days, which was good for me, because of my ankle. Cheltenham was on, it was March. I remember watching the...
So you always, like, because of your injury, a wet pitch suited you, it'd give you more...
I couldn't play on hard ground.
Because you'd get stuck on it, yeah?
Yeah, well, it was like, even walking along the road...
Any jolt could damage you.
Yeah. I mean, even today, you know, I've got to watch the paving stones and all that, but this is how bad the ankle was. But, you know, my best performances are always on heavy grounds, which people say to me today, "Well, you'd be great today on these pitches," but I'm not so sure.
No, you like the old mud baths, so they'd been better, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So did Don Revie, after the match, did he come over and say, "Well done"?
No, he weren't happy at all.
He was gutted, didn't he?
Yeah,
he was well, yeah.
He was chuffed. Yeah, and what made me hate him more was when the buzzer went before, and he said, "Remember what they did to us in the war," you know, and I thought, is that really the best you can do?
Yeah.
Is that your team talk with Leeds, you know, about, remember what was it, you know, what kind of...
Yeah, it was a bit outdated then in 1970s.
I don't even think, you know, I didn't know anything about the war. You know, the only war I knew was beating Leeds, you know. So it was, you know, and I had a good record against Leeds as well, which was good.
And what was your worst moment, say, in your career on the pitch, where you felt?
Well, the day I went over on my ankle, I'll never forget, at West Brom. No one near me, just brought a ball down, and it like the world stopped, you know.
Would you do ligaments, was it?
Yeah, I knew as soon as I hit the floor, I went down, I just brought nobody near me, I brought a ball down, and the ball went on the foot, went down, it went down a hole, and that couldn't happen today. That couldn't happen today, the pitches today, you know.
Yeah.
But I knew as soon as I went down, and I just flashed by me. My life flashed by. I think that's Wembley gone, because I was.
Yeah, was that just before the semi-final of the FA Cup, wasn't it?
No, that was before the final. We played the semi-final. We beat Watford in the semi-final.
That's it. You played in every round up to that, didn't you? In the semi-final.
This was the Easter Monday.
Yeah.
I knew on that day that it was all over. And then 5 years later, on another Easter Monday, was when Waterton watered the field at Liverpool, and played the best game of my life. So it's something about Easter Mondays.
Well, to play against Liverpool at that time and have a good game was something special.
And that was a year Shankly retired, and he came in the dressing room afterwards and shook my hand.
Yeah. Wow, that's a compliment then from Bill Shankly, wasn't it?
At the Victoria Ground, which was quite something.
And what was the score that day?
We beat them 2-0.
Fucking hell, that was a good result against Liverpool then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they were wiping the floor with
We
everyone
had a good
at that
side,
time,
so
weren't
we were the best team in the country.
I think you finished second that year, didn't you? Behind Liverpool, I think, was it?
No, we fell away at the end.
It was one.
We had 5 broken legs that year.
Oh wow!
Out of 15 players.
Can I ask about the nightlife and going out and the sort of the George Best's and the King's Road and all of that? How was that for you?
It was just like going out with your mates, you know.
Yeah.
George Best, first time I met George, and then we went to his club up in Manchester. We all, luckily enough, we always played Manchester on a Wednesday, Manchester United on a Wednesday night, and it was it was a night in George's. Yeah. And the first night in his club, we cracked it, me and him. It was unbelievable. It was, you know, I don't know whether it's, you know, he see a little bit of me in him or whatever, you know. And
you clicked, you just really get on.
Yeah, yeah. And London were looking for a George Best when they George Best of the South, and I feel sorry for that poor old Peter Marinello.
Peter Marinello,
yeah, and he played against us. He made his debut against us at Highbury, and I felt really sorry for him because we crushed them, and he didn't get a kick, and I felt really sorry for him. You know, fancy, you know, building him up as a new George Best. You know, there's never going to be another George. You know?
How good was George Best?
At his best, well, I don't know, how good was Frank Sinatra?
Yeah, amazing, wasn't he?
How good was Elvis?
Yeah.
But
you can't compare it any better than that, can you?
No, I mean, they are. You know, there'll just never be another. You know, George really was. You can't. You know, I think I watched a Maradona film. Maradona should be. He was a god, wasn't he? You know, for what he'd done in Italy. He was with the mafia. The way he lived his life, cocaine and this and that. And I couldn't play. You know, I was bad enough on booze. You know, but it was something else. But George Best used to, you know, he used to date Miss Wells and all that.
Did you ever date any Miss Wells or anything in those days?
Well, I'd give George a couple of mine. No.
Were you like a babe magnet? Were the women after you all the time?
No.
Yeah, I'm not sure I believe
that. That was Osgood.
That was it.
And did they all ever smoke at half time? And was there a little bit of a booze culture in the dressing rooms around that era?
I think under Doherty there probably was. There was probably used to do a little bit of that. But Dave Sexton was a devout Catholic churchgoer, non-drinker. He didn't. That was part of the problem.
Yeah. I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a problem in the dressing
room. All boys everywhere.
Yeah, he used to go around and smell your breath and everything. Really, David Webb come in half pissed one day, and he stunk of garlic. And I went, what have you been eating? He went, I haven't been eating nothing. He said, I didn't want him to smell me breath with booze on it, so that garlic. But David was from the other side of London, so we forgive him for that. But that's what it was, you know.